It was just a normal Saturday at a quiet suburban grocery store, until a young cop itching to prove himself drew his weapon on a man who wasn't just innocent, he was someone who could end that officer's career with one phone call. Now picture this. The AC hums, a cart squeaks, shoppers freeze as tension slices through the air. The rookie's hand trembles on the trigger, his pride already writing checks, his badge can't cash. Somewhere between Raisin Bran and Honey Nut Cheerios, fate decides it's about to teach one of them a brutal lesson. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you're watching from and make sure to subscribe to Voices Unchained because tomorrow's story, oh, trust me, it's one you don't want to miss. The voice cut through the aisle, hands where I can see them. Now. Julian Hayes froze. 1 second he was choosing cereal, the next staring down a gun barrel. Calm outside, boiling inside. Officer, there's been a mistake, Julian said evenly. But Officer Kyle Becker wasn't listening. Classic rookie, big ego, zero control. He wasn't looking for justice. He was looking for dominance. And in his eyes, a confident black man in a suburban store was threat enough. Here's what Becker didn't know. Julian Hayes was a decorated FBI agent, 20 years in the bureau, taking down criminal networks and domestic threats. Born and raised right here, the town that once told him what he couldn't be. Now a rookie was trying to strip all that away over bias and bravado. Becker sneered. You look like you don't belong here. Julian didn't blink. I live here. I'm buying groceries. When Julian refused to show ID without cause, completely within his rights, Becker's voice cracked. His hand twitched. Hands up! That's when Julian realized this wasn't about law. It was about ego, fear, and power, so he reached, not for ID, but for his phone. I suggest you call your superior. Becker scoffed. What, you think you know the chief? Julian stayed calm. I do. Frank Donovan, your chief? My friend. Becker blinked as Julian dialed. Frank, I'm at the grocery store. One of your officers just pulled a gun on me for shopping. A pause. Then fury. Don't move. I'm on my way. The store went dead quiet. Becker's face drained. The man he just threatened was the chief's best friend and an FBI agent. You could almost hear the sound of his career shattering right there between the cereal boxes. Minutes later, the sliding doors burst open. Chief Frank Donovan stormed in. No uniform, no backup, just presence. What are you doing? He barked. Becker fumbled. Sir, I thought. He looked suspicious. That's FBI Special Agent Julian Hayes, Donovan snapped. My best friend. The aisle went silent. You could have heard a Fruit Loop drop. Donovan held out his hand. Badge, gun, radio, now. That badge hitting the chief's palm, that was the sound of a career dying. You're suspended, Donovan said flatly. But that was only the beginning. When Becker returned to the station, Internal Affairs was waiting. They'd already pulled the grocery store footage, every angle, no context missing. Julian calm, hostile. The truth, undeniable. Watching it back, even his colleagues cringed. One muttered, man called your boss like he was ordering pizza. Becker tried to defend himself. It wasn't racial, he just looked tense. A sergeant cut him off. Tense? He was buying cereal, not robbing Fort Knox. The board didn't need long. Effective immediately, the lead investigator said, Officer Becker is terminated. Becker signed the paper, hand shaking, the same one that had clutched his gun. His eyes wet, his pride gone. Julian didn't gloat. Justice doesn't need applause, he said. It needs consistency. A week later, the story went viral. Everyone saw it. A calm, black man treated like a suspect, and a system that, for once, corrected itself. Julian returned to that same store. Same aisle, same cereal boxes. The manager saw him and whispered, Agent Hayes, I'm so sorry for what happened. Julian smiled softly. Don't be. You can't control fear, but you can make sure it's never ignored. Chief Donovan joined him later. You could have ended that man's career before I even got there. Didn't have to, Julian said. The truth did it for me. Becker left town, his name a warning. Julian went back to work, calm, steady, unbothered. But now his story carried weight. It wasn't just his anymore. It belonged to everyone who'd been profiled, disrespected, or silenced. He walked out of that store with more than groceries. He walked out with proof that speaking up still matters. Because when prejudice carries a badge, silence is not an option. If this story hit home, share it, not for the drama, but for the reminder that justice only works when we demand it. This is Voices Unchained, where real stories break free and truth always gets the last word.